Welcome to the Calcio FC podcast, your home of Italian football culture. This week we're going to get Italy reactions, of course, more Serie B on the DC TV app. But first, joining me, David Ferrini, is Destination Calcio senior writer Emmet Gates. Stan Cancian is out with a cold this week, unfortunately. But his replacement to discuss the new appointment of Igor Tudor is a Juve SuperFan. You'll know her as a Calcio content creator, Alexa. Thanks for joining us all the way from Canada.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited.
I can see you're wearing a Cittadella shirt and a Juventus scarf behind you.
Yes, those are my two main clubs, I would say. Yes, originally a Juve fan, and then due to family roots, got into Cittadella as well.
Okay, we're going to get into the family roots a little bit later on. Let's start with Juventus, because I know that you're following the Thiago Motta story. You've been on the AJC podcast as well for quite 3 years now. So Juventus, Thiago Motta, Igor Tudor, how do you see this panning out?
I'm really excited about the hiring of Tudor. I think that a change was needed, especially near the end of Motta's tenure. He lost the locker room. You can see all the reports coming out now. It was also evident during the season as well. And I started to see some red flags in terms of how he was dealing with players in their playing time, subbing players off early, not starting certain players like Thuram, Yildiz, after benching Vlahovic. And you could see that there was definitely a tension there. And as fans, we also struggled to understand some of the decisions he made for the lineup. So I can imagine that as players that they had difficulty understanding that as well. So I think by the end, especially that Atalanta match, and then finally that Fiorentina game, which was pretty much just a write-off, I think he knew he was out. So I think that a change was definitely needed, even for just the mentality of the group in order to try and make that push for Final Four. Because ultimately, if we miss Champions League, then that's a huge financial loss for Juventus that we can't afford right now. So I think Tudor coming in, as you heard the reports, he drove in all the way from Split, I believe he was in, just to come and sign the contract. And I mean, the contract is great, I think. It's a deal that allows Juventus to be in control of whether or not they want to choose to renew him and gives Juve options to look for a new name this summer. I'm happy with Tudor as a caretaker. However, by summer, I'd really like Juve to look for a new option just to continue and establish a new project, a new direction.
So, Alexa, who would you like to see come in? If Tudor, say, if he delivers top four, who would be your dream manager to bring in the summer?
So this is a tough question to answer, honestly. Looking at in terms of availability and the state of Juve right now in the club, I was against it for a while. I didn't want any more returns. But, if Conte is having some difficulty with the situation at Napoli, I think I would gladly welcome him back this summer. Like I mentioned, I was against it for a while for multiple reasons, but now I feel like the way he's just able to establish a group whenever he enters the change room and enters a club, I think he would do really well for this squad. We need a powerful and strong personality like Conte right now. So I think that would probably be my choice. Also looking at realistic options as well.
They want a strong man. They want a big, strong figurehead up forward, because we've seen a couple of these big clubs.
We need some grinta, some Juve DNA back.
Grinta, yeah, exactly. That's what Juve is used to in the past.
Yeah, I do think Juventus over the last 4 or 5 years have lost sight of what they used to be. And I think at least that's the thing with Igor Tudor. He did play for the club. He knows what it's like to have that Juventus-ness in his DNA. And I think, as Alexa says, Conte, personally, I don't see Conte coming back. But if he was to come back, he knows what Juventus represent, what they're about, the grinta, rolling your sleeves up, putting the work in. And Juventus, they don't have the Juve DNA in the club anymore, not from the players, not from the coach, not from the management.
Not from this shirt. And Conte actually played there.
During this era. And so I think bringing him back, I don't think it'll happen, but it would be a smart move because Juve do need some of that Conte-ness back.
Do you think Aurelio De Laurentiis will allow him to leave Naples that easily? I don't think so, pal.
No, I don't think so.
But
either.
yeah, I see that's the dream there for Lex, and why not? I mean, Juventus moving forward, it just feels like they don't have that. I guess it could be a point that we need to make here. Other clubs are getting better, they're getting stronger, and of course, everyone wants to beat the biggest club out there, and Juventus has been the biggest club, 36 titles or 38 or a million, whatever you want to calculate they've got these days. So, all right, Igor Tudor in there. Where do you see them actually finishing?
I see them finishing, I'm going to say top four, fourth place.
Optimism's good.
I see us getting the job done because for a couple of reasons. Lazio's been on a downward slide for a little bit now, so I'm hoping that can play into it. Dybala's injured, so Roma's going to be missing Dybala coming into this last part of the season, and Bologna has a really tough schedule going forward. I'm hoping those things help us out. We get that new manager bounce and are able to get the job done.
It's a very bold statement there, Alexa, I would say, predicting Juventus top four, but you make very good points. So just to rewind a little bit, how did you become a Juventina?
I became a Juventina during the 2006 World Cup because of Gianluigi Buffon. My brother was a goalkeeper, and my older brother's 2 years older than me. And I was at the age where I decided to copy everything that he liked and wanted to do. So he loved Buffon, so did I. I have a little picture of me in one of the old Juve, the Azzurro kit, the light blue one that he was wearing. So back then, just from that tournament, he was such a legend in that tournament and in that whole World Cup victory. So I think that him and I just latched on to Buffon, followed him to Juve, and just have been a massive fan ever since.
Take us through your journey into not just football content creation, but also your background in football.
So I began football content creation about 3 years ago. So kind of near the end of the pandemic, I was looking for something to do, and I had been following, we call it Calcio Twitter, which is the online community that speaks about all things related to Calcio. And I had been following for a while, and I love just being a part of the discourse, and decided one day might as well start my own account. I love talking about Calcio and everything about Serie A. So I went ahead with that, and it just seemed to catch on, and I joined the All Juve cast, which is a wonderful podcast run by Alberto Al. He lives out in Vancouver.
Shout out to Alberto. Come stai, bene?
Yeah, shout out to Alberto. They're a really awesome team. So I've been working with them for about 3 years. And I just recently started some content creation on my own as well on Instagram and TikTok. So that's been exciting. It's given me something to do. I've been injured for the past 4 months. So I kind of got into that because I haven't been able to play football. So I figured that I would get more into my content creation side. And I've been enjoying it so far.
Yeah. What happened?
So I injured my right knee, my MCL and meniscus, playing football. And speaking of that, I did start my journey in football back when I was 3 years old. So I've been playing since I was 3. I played at the collegiate level and the semi-professional level as well. I play mainly central attacking midfield.
She's a fantasista here.
Yeah, like Dybala.
And before we stalk your stats online somewhere, see how many assists and goals you're putting away, what was your first kit that you were given?
My first kit that I was given was that Buffon Juventus kit. I want to say it's 2004. It was that sky blue one.
Happier days before the decline.
Yeah, before Calciopoli.
Well, before the decline, back to the rise of the 9 in a row. But I guess you would have enjoyed that 9 in a row as you were growing up. And so your football journey, you've got that lineage in your family as well. They go back. Are they Juventini?
No, just my brother actually. So yeah, it doesn't go back much past that. My dad enjoys watching football, but was never really a huge supporter of one club particularly. So yeah, it was mainly just come from me and my brother. He's
a neutral. He's the journalist in the family, and there's no allegiance to either club. So and what is your lineage in terms of bloodline into the home nation of Italy?
So on my dad's side, my family's from Veneto. Pretty close to Cittadella, actually. And on my mom's side, they're from Abruzzo. So it's been really cool to like explore my family's heritage. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love Calcio so much, is because then I feel that connection. I love when I go back to Italy. I've been a couple times, unfortunately not to watch a game yet, but I love seeing the stadiums nearby, wherever we're at, even if it's like Serie D. My mom's family's from around L'Aquila, and there's a Serie D club there. So I kind of just got into following them as well. Like, unable to watch, but just follow their socials and just feel connected to that part of my my heritage as well.
I got a couple of questions here, but first I want to know, now that you have that plan to go back to Italy and see games, what would be 3 of your like favorite stadiums that you'd want to go to?
Oh man. Yeah, wow, it's tough to narrow it down to 3. I can think of like so many. I think I'll start off the list with maybe an obvious one, but Juve going to Allianz Stadium would be top of my list because I haven't been there yet. That would be honestly incredible to see. I think another awesome stadium would be, I love Venezia's stadium. I love the fact that you have to take the boat to get there. So I think that that would be a really cool stadium to go to as well. And another one would be the Alberto Pico Spezia Stadium. I would think that the scenery is beautiful there, so that would also be definitely on my list. So that would be my top 3 for sure.
And you've told me in a previous chat that you've got the will to go to Pescara. So what's behind that? You want to get to see the dolphins of Pescara?
Yes, right. Go visit Ciuffo. No, I'm kidding. But I would love to see like the Stadio Adriatico. I love their jerseys. Like I said, just another club that's got an awesome logo and Calcio heritage. So I think it would be really fun. Actually, my brother's friend was from there, and he was there the season they were promoted as well. So he remembers that, like, and what it was like in the city at that time. And I just think, yeah, it would be a really cool thing to check off my Calcio bucket list to be able to go there.
Yeah, Pescara is a beautiful little city if you haven't been there. We haven't done much of the Adriatic this year, but we haven't done the stadium guide for Pescara yet. We'll do Catania's because we've just been there, but we have done the Pico, we have done the Penzo, and we have done Juventus Stadium. So those are the top 3 for Lex right now that she wants to go to. Those are available on destinationculture.com. Have you had the chance to tune into any of the Femminile stuff, maybe with the Azzurri or Serie A in the past? Has that piqued your interest?
Yes, actually, I've been able to watch Serie A Femminile now because it's on DAZN in Canada, which was really cool. I think that just like happened this season. And they've been showing Women's Champions League on DAZN and on YouTube. It's a five-year deal. I think it's been going on for a couple of years now. So yeah, whenever I can watch Serie A Femminile or the Women's Champions League, it's always exciting for me. I always mention to people that Juve didn't come out with a women's team until 2017. So like growing up, I never got to see myself playing. Like that was like not even a potential option. You know what I mean? Like growing up, it was always watching Italian clubs on the men's side. So when Juve came out with their women's team and more clubs followed suit, and now, like I said, Serie A Femminile is a pretty strong league in women's football. It's just really exciting every time. It's awesome.
Alexa, how, obviously you're Canadian, how big is Italian football in Canada? Obviously there's a massive population of second, third generation Italiani that went to live in Canada. So how is Calcio in Canada? Is it growing, or what do you think the level of interest is?
I think it's certainly growing. I think that before it was a lot of Italian community members that were massive fans of, as we call it, soccer and Calcio in general. There's certainly a big Italian community here in Toronto, so that really helps. So I can see that there's support, there's fan clubs for a lot of Serie A clubs as well. I think that football in general is growing in Canada. We see the national team is improving. Canada also started their first men's professional league recently, the CPL, the Canadian Premier League, which I enjoy watching in the summer when the European leagues are not happening. So CPL is also really fun to watch. So I think that seeing that love for football grow in Canada has been really exciting for me and special. So it's nice to have fellow like community members that are supportive of the sport as well. And like I said, that Italian base is here. So there's certainly Calcio support. You can find it in Canada as well.
Great. And are there Serie A watch parties?
Yeah, there are some. It's a little more difficult to like find a bar or restaurant that's like playing games to go watch. Like I know it's maybe more something that happens in Europe. I was able to take part in that during the Euros when I was there. But yeah, over here, that part's a little bit different. You're more than likely to find like hockey, basketball, or American football on the screen. But otherwise, there are certainly watch parties if you know like where to find them, whether it's at like your local fan club or whatnot.
Will you be organising the first ever Cittadella watch party in Canada?
You know what? That's a great idea.
Or just Serie B games in general. Yeah. We're going to assign you. That's it. You're our ambassador into Canada
the
now.
Serie B ambassador.
Yes.
So we'll be emailing over the paperwork. Yeah.
I would love that. There we go. I might be a party of one if I held a watch party.
It always starts with one. You build it, they will come.
It's true.
I'm a rapper as well. So look, I'd love to actually go over to Canada and check it out because I know that Toronto's got that multicultural feel. I mean, we call it soccer in Australia as well. So I know the cognitive dissonance in having to deal with people that question you on calling it football or soccer. It's called soccer. That's not football. In Australia, we call rugby league football, and it's played with your hands. Yeah. So
Ireland's the same. We call it soccer in Ireland, and we've got Gaelic football, which is football. So we're all in the same position.
So I think it's just about claiming the word. It's public domain words, and we're not allowed to use the word football anymore. But yeah, look, it's called soccer, and we call it soccer, soccer, mate. So
yeah, that's it.
The universal terms. That's it. We're very global here on this podcast.